Hey everybody, this is Lindsay, and you're listening to the Double Chins Wagon podcast, the show where millennial moms share the absurdities of living life in rural America and struggling through the realities of being middle-ish class working moms and wives. No topics are off limits, and we are here for all people who no longer have the will to take life seriously. So hop on board the Giggle Wagon with hosts Lindsey, Rae, and Kayla as we explore some of the relatable yet hilarious crannies of everyday life that will leave you feeling like you deserve a gold star for all of the adulting you accomplished today.
Today is so hard.
Today, okay, what is today? The 12th of July?
Yes, it's July 12th. Do you want to know what tomorrow is? My birthday!
No kidding. So I get to see Rae in person, in the flesh today.
Yes.
Pretty stoked.
Yes.
Because we, as mentioned in the overall theme of the show, we live in rural areas of northern Michigan. And so Rae and I live over an hour away from each other.
Yes.
It's kind of dumb.
It's like an eternity.
Yeah. Especially if you've had some substances and you have to
This
drive
is true.
home.
This is so true. Yeah, you got to be real in tuned with like how your body processes various things that you could intake so that you know when it's safe to drive home. And sometimes that math is hard, okay? Sometimes that math is fucking hard. In case you were wondering.
Yes, it takes a lot of wokeness, self-awareness. If you're not good at math, those are the skills you need to pull it off. So
it's true. It's true. I mean, I guess practice also, but
so not to recap some of the stuff that we talked about on the episode prior to the episode that we didn't release, but only one of us has gotten a DUI, just to clarify.
This is very true. Also, we don't condone driving while high or drunk. Don't do it. It's not safe. There are consequences and you will pay them. For the record. We're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, only one of us has a DUI, so.
And it's not one of us talking right now.
It is not Rae. It is not Lindsay. Just so you know. I hope that you guys are good at deduction. So there's that.
Right.
Speaking of which, we have an episode that's not gonna get uploaded because we live in rural America where the internet service is poor. Fortunately, like I do live in the city limits of my city, and I live on Main Street, which is super handy for me because we share the same like fiber as the hospital, which is a customer. Lindsay works in the city, but her home is not in the city. And so when she is at home, which is how it played out for our last recording, it just didn't go great. No. From what Lindsay does our editing, and it doesn't sound like we're going to be able to salvage it.
Yeah, and it is too bad because there were some fun moments and trying my best to pull some of those out. I did publish a couple of short clips, but essentially the timing of the tracks is just kind of a hot mess. And we have fiber internet at my house, but clearly the signal is not as strong as what Rae is dealing with in Grayling, because I'd say you're a little closer to civilization than I am, just a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
I think positioning wise, where we are, we do have Spectrum. We do have like a Spectrum little hub thing literally right in our downtown. I am fortunate in that regard. But when we moved up here, because my husband works from home, that was a requirement for us. We had minimums that we needed to meet for download speed and upload speed in order for him to be able to pay our fucking bills, because I'm the one in our relationship who gets to like live their fancy. And Liam makes sure to have a job that pays our mortgage. He's a champion.
Also makes your life sucky sometimes, apparently, because today's the worst. This week has been good.
Today is the worst. Guys, when we were getting set up for this, he was in here and he just kept asking questions and he wouldn't stop, and we were trying to give him the answers and he does not understand. He was very impatient, to say the least.
It's probably because of those fast internet speeds that he's so used to. I couldn't give him the answer he needed.
He's so spoiled.
Right. I mean, he also works for a company that sells the internet.
Sells the internet to internet providers. So he's, the root of the problem as far as I'm concerned.
One of the other things to point out that there's 2 instead of 3 today, because I have no idea what she's doing, but Kayla, for her job, since she works for an extension, she's probably in a barn somewhere.
So yeah, I suspect that working with an extension, being in agriculture, this is a busy season for her. So
# rural life.
Lindsay, have you ever been to like county fair where 4-H or FFA is showing? I love those. Yeah. They're so fun. My little cousin showed pigs and chickens and turkeys and stuff. She showed so many animals, and we always had such a fun time. She let my kids name her pigs 4 years in a row, because my kids were little when she was showing. And more than once, the pigs that my kids had named were champions, or grand champions, I think is actually the fancy term for it. If Kayla was here, she would definitely know the answer to that. And so I always enjoyed going to it because it was fun. And then to see auction, like these kids were rolling in it. Like,
so because she's not with us, we're going to talk about something that Ray and I are extremely familiar with and have a lot to say about. And we're coming at this from both perspectives, or so I hope, but I'm sure we'll just let it flow. Funny drive-thru moments, either as an employee at a fast food restaurant or times that you have been a customer in a drive-thru and things went
weird.
Sideways. Yes. So the reason why I was inspired to do this topic was I thought funny drive-thru moments were kind of a thing of the past when you're young and silly and, I don't know, maybe driving inebriated and shouldn't be. But at the ripe age of 40, a couple weekends ago, my husband and I
such a grown-up.
We're so grown up. We were in the drive-thru of Taco Bell in Traverse City. We had called Ray before this, and she was in bed, and I was so sad.
Guys, it was fucking 1 a.m. Okay.
It wasn't 11.
Okay. Actually, you're right. It was 11 because it was 11. Point of the story is I was also already drunk, okay? Which is why I was in bed.
Oh my God. So disappointing. But I guess that also comes with being older. Your friends aren't raging until the wee hours of the morning.
At least not every weekend. But this weekend, it's birthday weekend. Yeah.
So we had gone to a concert. We went to see Stone Temple Pilots because we are a product of the early 80s, and I grew up listening to them, and I used to be in love with Scott Weiland. Rest in peace. So it was a great day. We were getting Taco Bell, as one should, late at night after having some fun. And there was a moment where I don't even know why we were in that zone where you're having a giggle fest while you're ordering food, because it's not that funny. You're just ordering fucking tacos. But we were a little high, and when the lady asked what kind of sauce Trevor wanted, well, first of all, this is like a pet peeve of mine, and I'm sure Ray will agree. As an employee or former employee of fast food, you can hear when the passenger is talking to the driver to say what they want, because you can hear everything in the car essentially. And so whenever we go through a drive-through, Trevor's always like, okay, tell them I want blah blah blah. I'm like, no, you just say it, just talk, they can hear you. And every time I have to do this, so I had to do it again. I'm like, no, just tell her what you want. And so he's like, I want a number whatever. And she's like, okay, what kind of sauce do you want? And he's like, mild. And her response, like, she was judging him hardcore that he only wanted mild sauce. And both of us knew that she did not approve of that choice. And we already knew that we were being extremely annoying to her, but we also wanted to laugh super hard at the fact that she thought he was lame, essentially. And so we both looked at each other and we started really fast trying to roll the windows up and closing the sunroof of the car. And then we started laughing more because she's already pissed. She has had enough of our bullshit, and we just need to keep this moment to ourselves. And it was just funny how we were panicking, putting the windows up, and then we started laughing so hard, and it was just so stupid. And okay, these are the little stupid moments that make life worth living, right?
This is true. So, for the record, Liam also only ever once mild sauce.
Ooh. There's so many themes here. It's like
we jokingly call Liam Gerber because he has a little baby mouth that can't handle any heat. He loves it when we do that, by the way.
Spaghetti sauce has spice to it. What? I did not put like pepper spray. I don't understand.
Liam has gotten better in the time that we've been together, and we've been together almost 17 years now. Like trying new things that have a different flavor profile that include a little bit of heat. He's such a Midwesterner. Like, that's really what it comes down to. It's really, I saw a TikTok in this, like, it comes up all the time. I see it frequently on the TikToks and on the Insta Reels. It's this black guy who's like, why do my white friends keep their hot sauce in the refrigerator? And it's this white lady who walks to the refrigerator and pulls her mayonnaise out. She's like, because it says to. But it's just mayo. That's not hot sauce, baby. That's not hot sauce. Just mayo. It makes me chuckle every time because that's Liam. So actually, this is the anniversary. 7 years ago this week, we were in Prague and Liam ordered a proper English breakfast, and they brought him some like stone ground, slightly spicy, like European mustard. And that's what he's been obsessed with since then. It's been 7 years now. That's like a happy little. So he upgraded from just mayo and gross regular yellow mustard, a more quality, slightly more flavorful, spicy mustard. It's like European spicy though. Like, okay, so let's not get crazy. Yeah, so he's grown a little bit, but he still does mostly get mild sauce. That's his jam. Yeah.
Simple folk.
As a person who worked a lot of closing shifts at a fast food restaurant, I would have been laughing along with you. I just need you to know that.
No.
Because that shit would have been so fucking funny for me. Like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I fucked with so many people in the drive-thru as the person inside. Like, my fucking life was made basically trolling drunks in the drive-thru. I loved it so fucking hard. Calliope is going to, there's a rummage sale at the church down the street from us this weekend.
I was wondering what the thing at the church was. What are you doing to your children?
It's a rummage sale.
Okay. That sounds awful still, but okay.
Oh, actually, this is decidedly less interesting. It probably is. So somebody in our community just sent me a picture of a bunch of fairy houses. So I have a little fairy garden in my front yard. It's called Railing.
It's not little, by the way.
It's not that big. I mean, it's a little bit big. So someone in our community just sent me a picture. Her daughter apparently has been painting an old set of little fairy houses that she found at her grandma's. And so Ivy has been painting them up so that she can also create her own little fairy gardens. And they're so cute. She did a really good job. But I got excited because I thought she was sending me a picture to be like, hey, I dropped some stuff off for rummage sale and I saw these and you might be interested. And I was so excited because I was going to send Calliope over there to get more fairy houses. But it's not. So now I'm slightly sad about it. But it's fine. They sit outside. I don't give a shit.
Oh, it's outside. Oh, never mind. My
railing is outside.
Yeah, they can be musty. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter. But
yeah.
Your fairies might not.
I don't think my fairies would care, to be honest, because they've put up with way worse. One summer they were stolen, remember? I say they were stolen. They were literally like some a-hole. I still don't know who did this because this was before we had a camera at the front door. Someone literally just took them off of the platform that they're on and put them on my neighbor's step.
Let's be honest. It was probably someone that lives in your house.
Well, if you're thinking that it was Liam, it wasn't because he was with me. And we walked home from Spike's and I literally started crying in the front yard. I'm just sobbing. I went upstairs and I was distraught. Okay. I was so upset about this. I finally cried myself to sleep. So the next morning, Liam actually got up before me and went to cruise around our city to see if some hooligan had just like taken them and left them other places, you know? Because like we're pranksters. Like, first off, who's gonna steal a whole fairy garden? What are they gonna fucking do with it? Be hooligans. That's what they're gonna do. So he literally went out and drove around our city to see if he could just like find them left in miscellaneous spots where someone thought they were being funny. He's been out driving for 45 minutes. He didn't go in the direction of that neighbor's house, so he didn't see him to begin with. So then he's coming back home and passes their house and sees them, and he's like, "You fuckers." But it wasn't those neighbors because they were out of town. And I know this because I was watching their house at the time. Like, I was feeding their dog. So I know it wasn't them either. Just some hooligan came up and moved yeah. So, and it wasn't my husband. Since then, they have not been displaced. But there were 2 creepy dolls that hung out there for a while.
Out of nowhere?
Yeah. Someone just left them there. And then when I usually bring the houses in for the winter because it's snowy and gross, whatever. And they have little lights on them too. So when I went to bring them in, I left the dolls out there. Liam's like, "Oh, you're not going to bring their little mayor in?" And I was like, "Absolutely not."
Not in this house.
I'm not bringing that in my house. No, absolutely not.
No one needs that energy.
Yeah. And so then they were gone. I did not bring them in. And then they were gone.
They disappeared that winter. I'm convinced that they were alive.
They were like those weird like porcelain faced one. Okay, so fast food places. So distracted. So sorry.
Okay. Wait. Okay, so you and I both worked in fast food in past lives. You were working at Wendy's, right?
I was. So actually my first fast food job was Sonic. At 16, I was a car hop on roller skates. Fun story for you guys. The cha-cha slide. You guys all know the cha-cha slide, right? Oh my God. So I learned how to do the cha-cha slide on roller skates.
Oh, and this explains a lot about your leg situation.
So in February of 2020, I was doing the cha-cha slide at a bar.
Not on roller skates.
Not on roller, just like in shoes. And I fell and I broke my leg. I had to have surgery right at the beginning of so it was March. It wasn't February, it was March because it was right at the beginning of lockdown. I was the last like non-emergency surgery that our hospital here in town did before all of the like COVID restrictions and stuff really set in. So yeah, I learned how to do the cha-cha slide at 16 on my roller skates, which that's also when I learned to do the Cupid shuffle, coincidentally. But yeah, I used to fucking rock it.
Or was it just a thing that you and your coworkers wanted to do?
Learn the dance or be in roller skates?
Dances.
So the dances were a fun time for us. We used to host like car shows and ice cream socials and stuff, and so like all of our staff would be on, and we would just do like if the song came on, like us as car hops would just go out there for songs that we knew the dances to and just like be cute for 2 minutes and then make fucking bank in tips.
Take your little tushies and
Yes.
get all the old creepy men to give you money.
Yes.
That's amazing. Okay.
My first stalker I met at Sonic. So you guys know.
This tracks.
Actually,
Okay.
my first 2 stalkers. JK, I've only had 3, and 2 of them came from Sonic.
I have had 0, so congratulations.
Good job. I'm proud of you. I apparently am like a crazy magnet. Okay, so even funnier than that, guys, I met my husband in the drive-thru at Wendy's. Guys, this is so beautiful. Get ready to have your hearts melted because it's so lovely.
Like cheese on a patty that was never frozen.
This is, yes, exactly, on a always fresh patty. Okay? Damn. So, I used to work at this Wendy's. It was not the first Wendy's. I was a shift manager and got moved because of a little bit of scandal that I may or may not have been involved with at the store I was at. And so then I was at this other store that was in Liam's neighborhood. It was like the Wendy's that was closest to his house. And so I was low man on the totem pole. So I closed a lot of weekend nights, a lot of Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. I was the one who was closing that store, which fucking sucked because when you're 21, you don't want to be at Wendy's at 1 a.m. trying to close. So this is how I made my life happy, was just trolling people in the drive-thru, naturally. So Liam would often like come by like on his way home from being out, whatever, and he took a liking to me. He thought I was cute in the 1 minute spurts of time that he would get to see me in the drive-thru window. And so then he was like a little more intentional about when he started coming to Wendy's. So one night I had moved out of my apartment. I was living with a guy I genuinely thought that I would marry. We were getting ready to move together to another state. And that was a thing that was on the agenda. And then he fucked around and I found out. So I had stayed at my mom's house the night before because we lived across town from each other and I got drunk at her house. And so I just stayed at her house, and a different girl stayed the night with him and then got up in the morning and called me because she encouraged him to have some deep sleep and went through his phone while he was asleep and found it not only me, but another girl and 2 other gentlemen.
Plot twist.
So that morning, so she calls me. I'm hungover as fuck, like, and she's calling me at like 8:15 in the morning. I just just kept sending it like right to, because I did not want to be awake. And she was relentless. And so I finally just answered. I'm like, oh my God, what? And so then she starts like explaining all the things. So I went to the apartment, got my things. May or may not have been super polite about the state that I left the apartment in. And then...
Did you poop on the floor?
I did not.
You should have.
in hindsight.
But anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
go ahead.
Point of the story is I had a rough fucking day. Okay. I went to work and I was so tired because I had gotten up too early. I had not slept. It was a Friday night. I knew it was going to be busy. It always is. And so it's like midnight. And Liam comes through my drive-thru and they're drunk and him and his friends are being so dumb. And I was just like real lackluster about my like, oh, thanks for coming to Wendy's. What can I get you? Like, I just didn't, there was no spunk. There was no joy. I was tired. And he was like, oh, what's wrong? You usually sound so happy. And I'm like, okay, creeper. Weird. Do I know you? And so we had a very nice, silly exchange over the intercom. And then he gets to the window and he's like, you look so sad. You usually are so happy. And I was like, I'm living a Jerry Springer life today. It's so dumb. And so his friend who was in the car with him was like, well, my brother here thinks you're real cute. And he's always talking about you. So since you're available now, you should give him your number. And I was like, yeah, that's a fucking great idea. This creep who comes through my drive-thru to check me out, I'm giving him and I did. I gave him my number. And here we are, 17 years later.
Sure. Fucking romantic.
Sure, romantic.
And we won't.
That's exactly how I describe it as well.
We won't even get into the romance of their multiple weddings.
That's its whole own episode. We're so obsessed with each other. It's so in the least like annoying way. I don't think that our obsession with each other is annoying, but Lindsay clearly does not agree.
No. I think that on your end, it's fine. Aside from the fact that you need a little more boundaries with the toenails. Because I'm never going to forget that.
Which I did this weekend. It's last weekend. It was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
You know what you should do? You should just get a little jar and start putting money in it. And it says Liam's pedicure jar. And make him go to a place that does that for him, because that's so nasty.
He does. He actually does enjoy pedicures. So
that could be like a treat yourself kind of thing.
Treat yourself. Okay.
So, okay. But I do think that Liam, maybe it's not obsession, maybe it's dependency.
Like, sometimes, yeah.
The amount of texts/calls that you get from him when you're not together. It's a little.
He loves me.
He loves you / can't live without you / might not know what to do with life.
Yeah, he gets bored. He gets so bored. I am the most entertaining part of his life, for fucking sure.
You're the most entertaining part of a lot of people's lives. Okay, like most people that know you.
I do try to keep everyone on their toes. So there's agreed. I do legitimately, like, I still tease him about that when people are like, oh, how'd you guys meet? And I'm, oh, he's talking to me at my job. So yeah, and he's like, that's not what happened. I just went there a lot because I was a bachelor and it was in my neighborhood. I'm like, well, okay. Which the older I get, the more that makes sense to me, because the first time I ever went to his apartment, literally in his refrigerator was plain yellow mustard. And then in the freezer was a frozen goose, like a fowl, a frozen goose, and a bottle of Gosling's rum. That was all the food that was in his apartment.
You have got to be joking me right now. Did someone get him a goose because of his last name? Did he kill this?
I think it was his sister who got it for him.
That is the most ridiculous thing.
That is exactly, he had a goose in the freezer because he is a Gosling. And then he also had a bottle of the Gosling's dark rum, which BT Dubs is the only proper rum to put in your dark and stormy. If you're going to make a dark and stormy, Gosling's ginger beer with Gosling's dark rum. That is the only proper way to have a dark and stormy.
There you go.
In other news. So it does actually make quite a bit of sense to me that you be eating fast food so frequently. Funny, so before I moved across town, my husband and I actually lived literally 2 blocks from each other for about half a year and did not meet until after I moved out of that neighborhood. Yeah.
That's a
literally could have thrown rocks at each other's apartment.
Well, my husband and I grew up a town away from each other and had similar friends because he worked at the movie theater that I went to when I was like, of driving age. And we didn't meet each other until we went to grad school.
That's adorable. That's super
weird.
Cute. It is weird, but that's also super cute. Well, one of my brother did. I picked him up from Cocaine Denny's, and he points at his belly and says to me, "This belly's hungry." I'm like, I am picking you up from a fucking Denny's, bro. Like,
no,
they're open. They're absolutely open. I went in there looking for you. He was hiding behind a dumpster, which is a whole nother situation. He finally came. I'm calling him. I'm like, oh my God, where are you? And then he finally comes out from like the little dumpster enclosure. I'm like, what are you doing? I take him to this Burger King and I tell him, I was like, do not. He like took the paper off the straw. And I was like, do not throw that out the window. And he drops it out the window. He's like, oopsie, I'm a cutesy. And I was like, fuck you. You can walk home. My patience with him was out at that point. And the people in the window were dying laughing because I was so frustrated with him. They thought it was fucking hilarious. It was, yeah.
Burger King. That's where I work.
That's Liam's favorite.
Good. I like it. The BK Lounge, if anyone remembers those really old.
I don't know.
Oh my God, let me look them up. BK Lounge. Comedian. Dane Cook. Yes. Pretty sure.
That's so perfect. Oh my God. I didn't even realize that was Dane Cook. Didn't even realize that.
But I'm pretty
He's
sure.
He's hilarious. He's also a creep.
Does he even do anything?
I don't know. I think the last time that I haven't seen him in anything in a while.
Right. The original launch of that joke was like 17 years ago, which is probably right around the time I was working at the BK Lounge because it was what we called it, and we thought we were just hilarious for calling it that.
Can you do a reverse B&E?
I was working, it was one that was next to our college campus. I was working while I was a college student. And so you can imagine the amount of just really, really stupid people going through because #college.
In time.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then all of the, like, I was one of only a couple people that worked there that were actually college students. And I also was a manager like you, Ray. So I was like upper echelon, like one of the high quality people, right? I made like.
You have to wear a polo shirt, like a nice button-up one.
Me too. I made $8.40 an hour as a manager, and I was on food stamps while I was in college because I made $8.40. So, and to think that when I graduated with my master's degree, my first job only paid me $11 an hour, and that was like more than a decade afterwards. There is something wrong with our economy. But anyway.
Absolutely. Because that's what I paid the high school student that just graduated who works the floor here. I pay her $11.
Yeah. So Burger King, some of my core memories from working there include this woman that worked there that was a local who had like a gazillion kids. And she had breastfed all of them proudly. She was in her 50s, I believe, early 50s. She was kind of like a MILF. And she flirted with all the guys, no matter how old they were, or young they were, I should say. Yeah. And she always talked about how much she loved being pregnant and would have another kid, like, anytime that she had the opportunity to. And at one point, for some reason, she showed us her nipples. And they were like this long from all the wear and tear. from all of
Okay,
her
for
kids.
those of you who are only listening and not watching,
I'm
what
sorry.
is it? That's easily like 2.5 inches, 3 inches.
Yeah, I'm
Jesus,
like-
Mary and Joseph.
That's gonna stick with me for the rest of my days.
It's gonna stick with me for the rest of my days. I didn't even see them. Lord, oh my God, my boobs hurt now.
She
No,
seems
thank
fine.
you.
She actually had them pierced too, which is like worse. Like, why would you? Like, you could have multiple piercings on one nipple.
I'm super uncomfortable now.
Good.
I'm literally all I'm thinking about is like cow udders that are pierced. That is the image that I have in my brain right now, and I don't love it.
Cow udders at least have some substance. Like, they were kind of like wrinkly, and oh my God, it's just.
You're making it worse, Lindsay.
That's the point. I am trying to paint a picture here. So
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
That's also when I discovered Burnett's, working there, going to work parties in the trailer park nearby. Not fun.
I have heartburn now.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, just saying that out loud. Like,
for the record, I've actually only ever had heartburn in my life one time. Once in my whole life. I had heartburn. I was pregnant with Calliope. I thought I was dying. I told Liam that he had to take me to the hospital because I was fucking dying. And I'm like explaining to him what's going on. He's like, no, babe, that's just heartburn. I was like, no, I'm very confident that this is my death. And that's it. I've only ever had heartburn one time in my life. I thought I was going to kill myself. It was so terrible. It was the worst. And now you say Burnett's and instantly I feel it right there. And I was like, yeah, no.
I think
pass.
I would die if I had some of that right now. It is not meant for anyone older than 21.
Like, I make shitty moonshine at my house, and I would rather drink that. It's okay. Like, I'll go to prison before I drink more Burnett's. That's so bad.
Yes. Oh my God. But, and this is me as a consumer, and another one of those random memories that, like, I don't know why I always think of it, but almost every single time I go to Taco Bell, I remember the day, or night rather. I believe I was in high school, so this would have been probably either junior or senior year, and I hung out with my high school boyfriend, who was Scuba Steve. That's what we called him. He was a drummer in band and another band outside of school. My best friend from growing up, like, he was my first friend that I ever knew. He lived down the street from me, kind of thing. And then this other weird guy named Pat that was like, he looked like he was 50 in high school, and like one of those like like one of those short, stocky, like goth guys that had like a full beard already. Like why did you have a full beard in high school? But like, cool, good for you. So anyway, this is like the crowd. Like, it was always us. And we were always driving around in my 1989 Mercury Tracer wagon. We were always stoned. Always.
Shocking.
And we were in the drive-thru. My friend AJ was on another planet for sure. He was like ordering out of the back window because somehow he was the only one that was able to formulate sentences without just laughing. You know how that goes.
I do.
Ordering food is hard sometimes when you are high. It's like you're competing for an Olympic medal. That is how it feels. So
yeah,
he's ordering and he's rattling off the list of things that we want. And the girl on the speaker's like, okay, so how many tacos did you say you wanted? And my friend's like, soft. handle being alive. I could not handle being alive. I think I drove away. We did end up getting our food, but we just lost our shit because that. And she's like, "What?" I didn't answer after that.
Nice.
Yeah, I just always think of that really stupid, tiny moment in my life when I go to Taco.
It's really beautiful. I appreciate it.
I think we had chain wallets too. Pretty sure. Like we
That
were
tracks.
those kids.
That would have been like the mid-90s, right? Like late 90s?
It would be like 2000. So
Okay.
right there, yeah. That's peak chain wallet time.
It is. I was a nerd cheerleader then, and I think I even had a chain wallet. So I have one more. Let me tell you one more silly quick story. This is me as a consumer. Liam and I, and this is since we've been in Gray Lane. We went through the drive-thru at Burger King. I was the passenger, as I absolutely fucking should have. Literally, God bless my husband, because I mean, I would probably be 100 pounds lighter if I did not drink and then go to Burger King at midnight as frequently as I. But also,
God bless America.
I do love my life mostly. So we're in the drive-thru and it was late. I wouldn't say it was probably like right at midnight. Like these assholes were probably like, "Fucking bitch, what are you doing? We want to go home." Because here in Grayling, Burger King is only open till midnight. Like there's no late night here. We were waiting for like chicken fries or something because that's my go-to. I love chicken fries only when I'm drunk. I don't sober Ray. No, thank you. Why would anyone eat chicken fries? Drunk Ray loves them. She thinks they are a gift from heaven. She also puts them in her mouth and then falls asleep. So there's that. Liam has literally saved my life more than once because I've passed out with food in it. I yelled at him one time that I was holding the chicken fingers and I passed out, and he took the one out of my mouth, which I didn't notice, but then he went to take them out of my hand and like back in the bag so I didn't spill them, and I was so fucking mad. I yelled, I was like, "I'm eating those." It's like, "You were asleep." I was like, "No, I was not." He was like, "Babe, I literally just took one out of your mouth. Did you wake up for that?" BT Dubs, I was early on in our dating experience, and he still stuck around with me, okay? Just saying.
Real love right there.
So we're sitting there waiting, and so he and I are having chit-chats, whatever, and this girl, who was clearly methed up, okay? No doubt about it, in my mind, bitch was high as fuck. And she comes to the window, and she starts to hand us the bag and says, "Would you like to tip us, our kitchen staff, here or us here at the window tonight?" And Liam was like, "No." And then snatches our boot and drives off. He was like, "What the fuck just happened?" So yeah, apparently at the drive-thru here in Grayling, they are also expect a tip.
To get some meth money.
Yes, absolutely. That is what was happening. And we laughed about it the whole fucking way home. All 4 blocks. The only thing we laughed about though was like that bitch was just trying to like, she needed that cash right. She did not want to wait.
Desperate call.
Yes. Yeah. So there was that. The other experience I have, I'm going to be vague.
Okay.
Intentionally. Okay, just in case like someone I know listens. I genuinely don't want this person to be embarrassed.
A bodily function involved.
No.
Okay.
I was not drunk. Liam and I actually both of us were sober, but it was very late. We were coming into town, like we had been downstate for something. And so it's like 11 o'clock and we're coming into town and we're just hungry. So it was a Friday, and we pull up to Burger King and there's someone at the speaker, there's a car, and then there's us behind it. And so the person at the speaker pulls forward and the person in front of us doesn't. And we're joking about it because like we have been the drunk in the drive-thru. Okay, we're not proud of it. We've already talked about that. Don't drink and drive, kids. But we've been there. And so we were just giving him a minute. We're like, he'll catch on. He's probably like reading a message on his phone, whatever. It was like probably 2 minutes until we were like, I don't think this guy's going anywhere. So Liam pulls around in front of him, and we realize that the guy is like passed out. And he's driven. He's passed out in the driver's seat. The car is in park. Like, he apparently had been waiting there a minute. The car is in park, but he's just straight passed out. And we recognize this person. So I get out of my car. I'm sober. Do know. Okay, I'm in the passenger seat. I get out of the car, and I tap on the window. And he kind of startles. I was like, hey, are you okay? Like, trying to just be nice. Like, he was an older gentleman. So, like, maybe he was, like, tired or something. I don't know. Or so I like thought about it afterwards. Got back in the car, and I was like, Liam, what if he had been dead? So I'm talking to him, and I was like, hey, you fell asleep while you were waiting? He was like, no, I just got here. And that's when it occurs to me that this guy's drunk. Like, it's a person in town who lives in town. And I was like, hey, do you want me to drive you home? Because they literally live just like a couple blocks from me. And so I was like, and I'll park your car, and then I'll walk home. It's cool. Do you want some food? And he'll meet us there. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And so then I step back, like, thinking that he's gonna like get out of the car, you know, because it's already in park. So I step back thinking he's gonna, nope, puts it in drive and fucking takes off.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye.
So I'm just standing there in the drive-thru, like, Liam's ordering. He starts to pull forward because he thinks, like, he can hear kind of what's going on, so he thinks, like, I've got this under control. So I walk back up, and I get in the car, and Liam's like, what happened? I was like, he left. So we drove by the house. He got home. His car was in the drive. He was not in the car anymore. So wow. Yeah, that's my beautiful story. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You've got an hour drive ahead of you, bro.
I know. I was just gonna say, like, I might need to leave soon.
I usually start drinking around 5:30, 6. But my friend she's like in a cutesy little band, and she's playing at the Swamp 2 tonight.
Hold on.
I don't think she starts till 8.
Is it that the one bar in Frederick?
There's actually 2 bars in Frederick.
Okay.
There's the Frederick Inn, and it's the one so the Swamp 2 is the one that's across from the gas station, like across the railroad track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the scary one then.
Oh, actually, I would 100% say the Swamp 2 is the scarier.
God damn it.
But I love it. Like, it's nice.
Oh.
It is a little weird to walk into, but the food is good.
Small town bar vibe that not all millennials love.
The Swamp 2 is definitely the rowdier of the two. In fact, tonight is bike.
I was just going to ask if bikers go there. Oh my God.
Yes. So many bikers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, it's a really nice ride out there. Like,
it is.
It is. And then in the winter, there's a shit ton of
sledders,
like snowmobilers. Yes.
So basically, this translates into Bad News Bears, aka a bunch of backwoods fucking hillbillies, Northern Michigan style, hanging out in Frederick, and us. So stay tuned for updates, because that's going to be funny. And goodbye to all of our lovely listeners, all 7 of you. You're the best.
All 7 of you. Thank you for listening to our shenanigans. We will try to not fuck up any more recording. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode of Double Chin's Wagon and would like to support the podcast, please share it with your friends, post about it on the socials, or leave a review. You can also comment or answer some of our poll questions. To catch all the latest from us, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Double Chin's Wagon. Thanks again. We will see you next time.